Silent valleys. Over the years, I've become more and more aware of the events in Ireland prior to the Plantation of Ulster. As you delve into the bog of history, you cannot help but ask yourself questions. Questions that you then want to ask out loud. This now comes in the form of a poem regarding Hugh O'Neill's early relationship with England and the court of Queen Elizabeth I. How he learned to move and live in two worlds, two deep currents pulling and tugging at him until eventually he was torn apart. His one discreet need was to bleed for his tribe, to hide himself away from childhood between two eyes with measured difference, between two minds and two circumstances lodged amongst two cultures, between the devil and the manifestations of the devil in human form, now walking amongst his people. Foreign devils striding across the deep blue sea. Foreign devils he understood and who he knew well. Adventurers seems to me like a fraudulent term for men who rape your country, whose names now ornament the streets of Belfast. Scorched earth, burnt crops, roped stock, and the disappearance of most of your flock leaves its mark between your two eyes, between two minds, between two languages, and a broken promise to a virgin queen. The silence in the valleys and the glens, the hollow silence in the hen houses and the cradles, bodies, many bodies, hidden away in dark places, erased memories cultured on a petri dish of forgetfulness. Blood orange blooms cluster upon this fragile glass, stored on shelves in fusty cupboards where the light of day can barely reach the deeds and legal papers exchanged for a living crop, where vellum and ink rot like ripe fruit, as if this could ever be legitimate. Promises torched and turned to an unending carbon fuel. A brutalized growth ripped up from a moist soil. Our memory recoils as the bullet of forgotten stories sinks into the ground and rusts like the lost sword of some armed adventurer, conquistador, explorer, a whore to the sword, to war and the highest bidder, still horrific and silhouetted against the flames of destruction, a bloody, dysfunctional sun. Harvesting the nests of others who do not suit your needs. The greed of a few bring down the need of the many. In just a few scorched winter months in Ulster, the resulting famine devastates and breaks further resistance. No embedded news hounds to witness these events. No women reporters holding microphones like lamplight to inform the darkness of these huts without windows or doors to life. Where is my wife, my children? Where is my father, my mother? Where will I discover them? And in which field, in which mound will I scratch for their remains? Will archaeology ever discover the twisted cart and barrel of all these lives, these wives, children and wayward screams, still haunting our ignorant senses? For no one has informed us of our own history, clearly or adequately. Our history waits on the sidelines for a late substitution, stretching and warming up. Yet without the knowledge or beacon upon which to reflect, our peace cannot flourish. For what if the same energy used to find just one of the present disappeared was pressed into the search for a population brought close to complete elimination? What then? What pain would be released through this? A marker to this horribly adventurous deed, all for the sake of an adventurer's greed, building himself up from soldier to deputy to king in all but name amongst the narrow cobbled streets of Belfast, diplomat and killer between two eyes set apart, for they could never ever be the eyes of a savage Irish man. Surely not, for these killings were civilised and sanctioned, condoned and ratified with gratitudes and gifts, each working hand in hand, two hands upon Ulster, the land in which still contains the secrets of the many, many, many disappeared, gone up in a puff of smoke, a conjuring trick never explained to the public, like dead wild pigs consumed in a dark oak wood smoke that would almost choke the life out of this place. But the Irish savage, corked and concealed, cut through like rock and deeply etched by a waterfall of demands and deeds, bleeds still for his tribe. These silent valleys, motionless and hidden by our natural beauty, still available to the digger or anyone with the interest. Lying in wait lies a creviced lock in the ground, waiting for the right key, for one big question waiting to be asked, our past and our future waiting to be recalibrated. This old hatred set free through a voice heard. Who will ask the question? A politician, a villain, a child, the dogs in the street? Who will be wild enough to blow up a storm rather than a building? Childish enough to open their mouths and ask, what happened here? What happened to the beginning of our past? Who will prise up the rotten supports beneath the wooden boards of our present? Who will cleanse our foundations and rid our community of its silent state? Where will we all wait for someone else to speak first and turn the other cheek? Mothers, fathers and children drilled like pea pods into the ground of Ulster, its very core and soul. Red hands and yellow skin, waiting still for the winnowing. And when will they be heard and accounted for, their graves marked like those of the two world wars? Not for another monument, I ask, to O'Neill and his wild geese, these Gaelic lords, but for the harvested crop, his tribe long forgotten and so set upon by loathsome adventurers. What monument will we ever set up to them? Where will it be and how big? What will it cost to fully account for all their troubles and lives lost, buried in the foundations of the plantation? A strange crop dug back into the ground of a nation so torn apart by our mixed seed. So when and where will this be, to break the spell still foaming in the dog's mouth at Tollyhogue? Will we do this, or will our children have to do it for us? Once more.